Hello, hello everybody. I'm really waiting here for Kristian to come in, and we are going to start our talk between Brazil and Hungary, São Paulo and Budapest, to know what's going on in Budapest and exchanging with São Paulo. Oi, Denise. Oi, Olinda. Estou esperando por Kristian para entrar. Ruth, Beatriz. Kristian, please come in. Accept they are live. Oi, Thaís. Helen. Olá. Ô, Beatriz. Rodo Azevedo. Olá, Kristian. Just a moment, people, please. Kristian, please come in. I hope he's not having difficulties over there. Just give them some minutes, and he will come in. Hi, Kristian. You are there now. Okay. Where are you? Now, Kristian, you have to accept the invitation, please.
Oh my goodness.
Good. I can listen to you, but I cannot see you. Let's see
It's the same thing again. Oh my God.
Give a second, maybe. Did you put off your WhatsApp? Kristian? Hi, Kristian. Kristian. Hello, Kristian. You have to accept, Kristian.
Hey.
Did you accept?
Yes, I accept everything, but okay. I can't see you again. Oh my goodness. I'm afraid that there will be the same problem again.
No, just a moment. I will put everything off, please, people, and you come back again, all right? I will put off, and you come back again, all right? And then we try again. It must work. Come
hey,
in.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you very well, but I cannot see you yet.
I think it's the same trouble as last time. It's annoying. Yes. Karina Cooper. Hello, Karina.
Is your video on? Maybe your video camera is not on, Kristian.
Yes, my camera is on. Don't worry.
Maybe your video camera is not on.
Now?
Oh,
Wow.
okay, great. Fantastic. Now I can see you.
Fantastic. Okay, great.
Hello. This is
Hello.
Indries Kristian, directly from Budapest.
Directly from Budapest. Yes.
Psychologist and university teacher. And as you know, we are here to talk about the situation in Hungary in the way of how is it going with the difficult politics in Hungary you have as well as we have here, and about how are we facing the coronavirus situation, you know, as a psychologists and as people from the community. So it will be nice to start. Maybe you want to share a little bit how are things in Hungary now? How are you feeling with the difficult politics you are facing around there now?
First, I thought I will tell you some tiny things about how my personal life changed because of the COVID-19 epidemic. Since I'm a university lecturer at two universities, at the Jewish University and at the Alta University, I have to keep my classes, my courses on Skype or Zoom and or other platforms, and I noticed that it's much more tiring than than it was before the face-to-face. And I think the reason is one of the reasons is that since I can see the faces of the people, but I can't feel the whole group. You know, as in the Gestalt psychology, we say that the whole, the Gestalt, is more than the sum of its parts. And so the group as a whole is difficult to sense, it's difficult to feel if they understand me, if they can't follow me. Yes, and this is a bit difficult. I mean, teaching. Later, I will talk to you about therapy and yes, and of course, because of the quarantine, I couldn't see my parents for more than 2 months. I'm a bit worried about their health. I think this is everywhere. By the way, if I stay more than 1 day in a room, I feel exhausted. I have a headache. I never had headache before. I feel slowed down. It's difficult to concentrate. So it's not easy.
You're talking about being inside the home, right? Inside
Yes.
most of the time.
Lockdown.
So
I like the English. Yeah.
Are you in lockdown in Budapest?
Yes, somehow, yes. We can go out to buy food, but we are not encouraged to walk on the streets or go to parks or.
We might go in lockdown here in São Paulo in the next 10 days. We might go. It's not sure yet, but it's very possible because it's growing a lot, the virus, and people are getting sick, more and more people. But we have no idea yet what's going to happen, you know. So it's like we are dealing most of the time with the unknown. We don't know what's going to happen. So and having to be inside home is a bit, as you said, we have ups and downs, you know. Sometimes it's very at home and working and doing what you have to do and being creative, etc., and reading and learning and teaching and seeing patients. Sometimes it's very nice. Sometimes the energy goes down, and we feel kind of locked down. We feel locked down. We feel kind of down, right? And in Brazil, we are facing not only the problem of the virus itself, not only the problem of being in contact with this problem, but we also have to face a government that is quite ambivalent and quite crazy and quite quite difficult to deal with, because they send different messages all the time, and at the same time they are kind of dictatorship that press us, you know, to accept certain situations that we got rid many years ago, but now we have to face it again and again, and threats and menaces, etc. And I believe in Hungary you have the same. Now you have a president that became a kind of dictatorship too, no?
Yes, that's true. I think in every country we can see the medicalization of the politics and the politicization of the medicine. This reminds me of Michel Foucault's thesis on biopolitical power, on the management and administration of life. But to say some concrete things, the first coronavirus-related death was announced on 15th of March. And yes, in response of the pandemic, the government ordered the state of emergency, as everywhere. And yes, now the concrete numbers is that in Hungary there are at this moment about 3,000 people who are who have this virus right now, and we have about 10,000 people in compulsory quarantine, and we have 351 people who deceased because of the virus. So these numbers, what I was telling to you, it's not they are not reliable. We do not have enough tests, so we don't know the realistic data. The World Health Organization concluded that the Hungarian government's data is totally unreliable. So the first cases of coronavirus was known by some students from Iran, and the right-wing media presented as a kind of xenophobic way. You know, Orban is against of the migration, is against of to receive people from countries where there is war and famine and problems, and he is very good in using everything to bring the message to everyone that you see people from Iran or people from Arabic countries, they are dangerous. They bring us the epidemic. Okay, so the government now made the bed capacity of hospitals to be 36,000. It sounds good, but many non-coronavirus people was relocated in other hospitals or home. Can you imagine how dramatic situations could arise because of this? You know, families, they are not prepared to work with people who need pampers and stuff like that. It's really, really hard. And the biggest problem is that we have huge football stadiums instead of healthcare system. And of course, these stadiums could be opened to make their special hospitals. But anyway, now the restrictions are lifted in Hungary. So not everywhere, not in the capital, in other cities, and so in other cities, open places or pubs which are not closed, or zoos, or anything which is outside, people can visit. But yes, in Budapest is the same. It's a lockdown actually. And you know, Orban now has a limitless power to rule by decrees. And they have the 2/3 majority in the parliament. So now they already had a strong power, but now they have limitless totalitarian power without legal supervision. It's terrible. Wow, it's a textbook, what Orban is doing, how to use coronavirus to abuse authoritarianly the country. More than 30 member states of the European Union said a letter in which they expressed they are deeply concerned about this emergency. And this violates the democracy in Hungary. Well, now is the peak of the virus. This is the first week of May. And yes, we hope the best, but we are preparing for the worst. And now I have you a question. Since, you know, basically the European people, we know about Bolsonaro, that he is interested in the deforestation in the Amazon. Maybe I think that the first thing comes to our mind when I hear Bolsonaro, oh yes, the guy with the Amazon is crazy. So tell me something about what is the reality about this guy, Bolsonaro.
Oh, this is one of the realities of him. He's not interested in life, you know. So to take over the Amazon and make a business of the Amazon is one of his objectives. And this will destroy, of course, the Amazon, and will destroy the population that lives in there, you know. So it's not only that he's not interested, he doesn't know anything about nature, about ecology. He doesn't know anything. So if he doesn't know anything, let's do what's best to make money. So it goes like that for everything, you know. And he has no concerns for life. He has no concerns for human beings by neglecting, for example, the virus and not doing anything to protect people from that, you know. He's already he's just sharing, you know, his way of not giving a chance, you know, to contact people, to be with people, and to preserve life. He does not preserve life. He's just somebody without a brain. Is something really strange, awful. And it's not only him, it's a whole group of people and a whole group of population that voted on him and keep supporting him. So Brazilians or human beings can be pretty strange on that, you know, because they can really be with this kind of destruction, you know, and believe on destruction. So we understand nowadays that most of Brazilian people, we have lots of violence here. We have lots of neglection of life, you know. So Brazil is facing something that maybe never faced it before, you know. You know that Brazilians, they are not as cordial, as nice as they used to be. Many of them, you know, of course, we have lots of nice people here, not concerned by life here, but there are lots that are not concerned, and this is quite difficult to face as a Brazilian person here, you know, very difficult to face, as I believe it's difficult for you to face again a dictatorship that is coming into Hungary at this moment. You know, it's like again, you know, say again that, you know, again the militaries, again the same kind of regime, you know, coming to our country. But at the same time, we are discovering by being at home that we can learn a lot, and that we can be creative, and we can learn about creativity, and we can, for example, we can see that environment is better. You can see the sky, you can see the moon better, you can see the stars, you can be better in this big town here. So it's showing us that really in a few days, like 45, 2 months, maybe 60 days, almost 60 days of confinement, you know, things in the environment are much better. So how can we keep that is the following question. How can we keep the good thing going on? You know, how can we keep this the environment better? You know, for example, having less cars on the streets, having less pollution. You know, it's much better for everybody. You know, and we can see new birds in town. We can see different things. You know, and this is very good. This is one of the good things. The other good thing that we are discovering, for example, that it's not so bad to work online, for example. Not only to work online, but to have a talk like we are having here online is good. And it's good and it's healthy too, because it put us together in a kind of resonance. So we are so far so close at the same time. And so far so close became something that I used to say, you know, so far so close. You know? So I think that all the possible communications through online work, if they are well used, it can be very nice. The other day, I was teaching a class for a group of students, you know, and it was fantastic. All the resonance and empathy that we have, they could work with each other. It was really nice. And all the meetings I have with friends from all over the world, we are having meetings that we didn't have before. For example, we can see each other every week, and before you used to see each other once a year. So it changed a lot, and we produce much more. And I can see also that the patients are accepting better this kind of work, and we can even feel the resonance, the empathy, and transference on the work in what we do, you know. And we can also do body work, but body work from the sense of psychotherapy, and not body work in the sense of yoga or gymnastics or meditation, but body work in the sense of therapy, even vegetotherapy, as you know a lot about that, no? So I wonder, how is your experience in this sense in Budapest?
Yes, I think for some of us, the coronavirus meant that loss of clients, but many of us are working with Skype, Zoom, Viber, WhatsApp, and other platforms. And I think online support or online therapy is not suitable for all kind of difficulties. I think where is the suicide risk or severe depression or anger management problems, I think it's better than nothing, but we have to be very, very careful. And but as you said, you are right, we embrace new technologies delivering mental health services. So yes, we can creatively adapt to the circumstances, as you said. And yes, as the lockdown continues, this kind of remote working becomes a kind of normal. It's strange that when I begin telephone sessions with patients, their anxiety increased. Where is the therapist body? So doing this phone, for example, doing phone sessions, I'm quite comfortable. But I noticed that video calls are less intimate than just talking by telephone. This is my experience. Maybe not everybody shares this, but the telehealth practitioners say that working through this platform is more exhausting than face-to-face. And yes, there are some clinical changes with patients who have intimacy issues or shame. Teletherapy is not so easy. And I think it's difficult and exhausting because it's more difficult for the therapist to stay quiet and remain a warm receiver. And to make possible to have a reflection time for the therapist. So with teletherapy, I personally feel pressured to talk more. So there is a subtle interaction between the patient and the therapist in face-to-face situation, which cannot be picked up on the screen. I understand your point on you can do some body techniques, but I feel that something is missing. But for many people, this kind of teletherapy is the only moment in their life when they got some personal attention. So it is important. It might trigger out some early memories. But of course, because in psychoanalysis we say transference, so you can transfer some attributes of feelings or memories, desires you experienced at early childhood. But as you said, you use rather a body-oriented term, attunement. But I think it's a bit harder to control and to interpret transference and contra-transference, and maybe there are more projections in the therapeutic situation. This is my experience. I don't know how you feel it, Rubens.
It makes a lot of sense what you are saying, Kristian, because of course it's much better when we are face to face, or not only face to face, body to body, or together in the same room. And of course, this makes a lot of difference. Of course, we miss something, you know, but it doesn't mean that it's not possible to work deeply, even through online work, you know, because I'm having the experience that with my patients that something is very strange, but some things can go deeper from that distance. It's like you have this distance, and this might protect you from being in the same room, and then you can let yourself explore other things that you wouldn't do if you were in the same room, you know. So there are all these kind of differences, and also it's important to bring the issue that we are facing this pandemic. We are facing and the pandemic brings kinds of emotions and sensations and fantasies, especially fantasies. You know, we have lots of fantasies and imaginations about being hit by the virus, and we are always in danger of dying or being sick or suffering, you know, and that brings feelings of fear, panic, and anxiety, anguish, that anguish, you know, which are quite deep things that they need attention, so that people can find a way to deal with that in a better way, you know. And not being only overcome by the whole feeling, by all these feelings, you know. So the contact through online helps a lot on this sense, you know. And as we are talking here, the kind of self-defense or strategies that we could use, they also change, you know. For example, I was working with a patient the other day with imagination, you know. What do you imagine, you know? Like she was imagining, for example, a cold, dark room, you know. So how to find a balance for that, how to find another room that could be more more welcome, you know, so that she could find a place where she could share, you know, her deep feelings, her deep fears, and then warm up the room, you know. So you have several strategies like working with closed eyes, working with eyes open, working only with imagination, working with some kind of body movements connected to the organism, you know, feeling the body, how are you feeling your body, and go into that. I am with you. So it's possible to explore some techniques, you know, you use some techniques to explore what's going on with the person from online work, you know. And then we, as psychologists, how we perceive or explain the collective trauma in which we are somehow victims of that. This the questions you brought that I found very interesting.
So first of all, I would like to reflect on the specific issues which might arise in time of quarantine. So yes, as you said, coronavirus forces us social distance. But I think this concept, social distance, is misleading because we are forced to have physical distance and more social solidarity. So in spite of the pandemic, I think through Facebook, Skype, Instagram, maybe we have more social contacts. It's social contacts to the virtual space is not the same as body to body, but yes, it's important. But I see that there is a spiraling anxiety for people. So this is what I feel has to do with isolation. So there is a paradox. We are not isolated because of the social media.
Yes.
But humans has a strong need to connect, and I think these bodiless encounters in the virtual space leaves us. We have same time connection, but at the same time we have isolation, and isolation in the evolutionary psychology means danger, means for some people the death sentence. You know, the old tribe. If you lost the tribe, you are alone in the jungle. It might be death. So I think this at the same time we have social contacts, and at the same time have isolation.
Yes.
So people miss the bodily containment and consolation, and oh yes, to hug, to the three-dimensional flesh and blood people. So we need this, and many patients are telling me that this kind of relationship through Skype it's more shallow. I understand what you said, that for certain people the distance it's good. They might bring up some deeper issues. Yes, it can be. But we can see that these bodiless connections has an effect on our body. Many people telling that their blood pressure is higher since they are in confinement, or heart rates it's higher. They have heartburn or digestive problems. So somehow this isolation has an effect on the functions of the body. And yes, I think this is the biggest problem which makes this more severe, that nobody knows when will be the end of the pandemic, and we are worried everywhere because of the economic recessions. Now there are more than 200,000 people who lost their jobs in Hungary. 200,000. I think that now the circumstances increases the risk of depression, PTSD, mild depression, other mood disorders, loss of interest in activities, guilt, low energy, concentration problems. Appetite is very important. Many people gain weight. Sleeplessness, the how it's called, the night day balance is moved somehow. Yes, and I think the society underestimates the mental health harms which might produced in the lockdown by boredom. Boredom, it's very important, I think, because people who are bored are more easily go to gambling, online gambling, or alcoholism, substance abuse. Some people getting more paranoid. Irritability, aggression is an issue. By the way, boredom, when we go to holiday, we go somehow to change the environment to cure the boredom or the burnout. But now this treatment of our boredom or it's not foreseeable in the future. I want to say few more things only. I think, as you mentioned, the domestic violence, it is a big problem. Usually, women who are in lockdowns, they are trapped in with abusive partners. That's terrible. It's yes. The newspapers every day have an article about this happened. Or 2 days ago, a son killed the old father. As a domestic violence. The father was a very famous actor, an old man, and the son killed, so it's terrible. So we have to face that domestic violence now. It is a problem. If the relationship was quite good, there are some clashes, but if the relationship before the confinement was bad, now the aggression level is very, very high. And I think our patients are expecting us to some impossible thing to re-establish the lost life, to maintain continuity with the past life. But we have to face that there is a watershed between the pre-pandemic and the post-pandemic life, and the future is uncertain and ambiguous. So our task as a therapist in many cases is to make sense of loss of jobs, loss of health, and loss of the illusion that our life in the 21st century is safe and predictable. The virus is here to remind us and to face us about the fragility of our health, our civilization, and our culture. This is, I think it's important.
Yes, very nice to hear that I can identify with most of the things. I think many people, everybody that are here with us, they can identify with most of the things you're talking about. You know, isolation, for example, we need to learn how to deal with isolation, you know, because in fact, the isolation we are facing now is an isolation to save our lives, to protect our lives, to be healthy in life, you know. But that can become a kind of prison, that can become a hard limit for some people that are used to find freedom always outside, you know. So people look for freedom outside. So the separation of life before the pandemic, you know, was too much, was too many things, you know. And now you have to face yourself. You have to come back to yourself. You have to be inside yourself. So this changement is quite big, you know, and it provokes a lot of anguish, you know, when you have a traumatic changement like that, you know, so that you have to face yourself. and to face something that people run away most of the time, which is the unknown, So, and one of the craziness, craziness that I found in people nowadays is that they have to find the answer for for the virus. They have to listen to everything, to all the informations, everything that coming, it must go to their mind, and they are like that obsessive, to know everything, something that it's impossible, and people get so much obsessive that they become so rigid on that they forget the other side of life, they forget how to equilibrate that, so we have limits of knowledge. We don't know most of the things, and this thing that you brought about the unknown is so important at this moment, that we are obliged to face the unknown, and the same time that we are obliged to face some limits in life, so limits were something that was very hard for the population to accept always, in your clinic, that people go out of their limits most of the time, and they hurt themselves because they go out of the limits most of the time, and now they are obliged to face the limits and face the frontiers, and that's not even a prison. That is because you need to save your life, to be and that kind of anguish is one of the things we face a lot here.
I think
I face
very
here. The patients, they face a lot here, and the other thing that you were talking about is that the danger, for example, of the economy. Of course, here we are losing a lot of work. People are going to lose their enterprises, because they cannot open. They are going down, and many, I think they are going to close, and this is an economical disaster. That if the government do not help people on that level, then the disaster will be not only economical, but it will be a social.
yes.
We are going to face a social problem here, very big, because this country here is a country with a lot of difference between wealthy people and poverty. So we have a lot of poverty, and imagine these people that cannot go out to make their daily money. What's going to happen with these people? It's not it's a lot of people only in the what we know as favela. We call here communities. No, we don't call anymore favelas. We call communities.
Okay.
More than 15 million people in communities here.
15 million.
Yes, 15
15 or 50?
15.
15, okay.
15
I
million
understand. Okay.
in the whole country living in
It's
very...
more than Hungary. In Hungary, we are only 10 millions.
Yeah, you see, it's a Hungary or something else. They are not... these people are going to be hungry. These people will not have money, and if the government don't do anything, I have no idea what's going to happen. I think it will be quite difficult. But we have to think about that. We have to do things about that. We have to keep doing things about that. Like we are trying to help. We are trying to help, these communities by offering not only our job, but offering what we can offer for them, like food, like investment, anything. But people are doing that. The government are not doing anything, So that will be difficult,
Yes, I think because of the same reason that many people here are angry because they lose their jobs or something. There is a kind of defense, self-defense strategy. What they use, they negate the danger of the epidemic.
Yes.
It's basically are most of people who lost their job or their business doesn't work as it worked before. So it's a kind of infantile defense mechanism which goes along with the false feeling of invulnerability. So yes, I think I go often by cab, and taxi drivers lost more than 90% of their jobs. And almost all of them, I don't believe in this pandemic. They believe in all kind of how it's called paranoid theories. But yes, I think as you mentioned, it's important what you mentioned that people are reading a lot about the pandemic, and this seems like a coping strategy, but it can be counterproductive. Because it raises the anxiety, and people somehow compulsively read again and again what are the news. Yes. Even people who had some who were mentally healthy, but also the mentally ill are now, I think, more vulnerable. And yes, as you told us, they have to make somehow sense that there will be new economic situation in which they might have to face that they won't have the same the quality of life as it was before. I think yes, the most important thing I think that we should realize that that the world is a safe place. This is an illusion.
Yeah.
And the virus appear an existential threat, and maybe we should reinvent the new sustainability of the economy. It is an opportunity to rebuild the economy, as you said, maybe a more green economy or more equal society and more clean planet. As you said, that the air is much more clean in Sao Paulo as it was before. Me as a European citizen, I am quite happy that we are part of a country which have solidarity to each other. The European Union, I believe in this. I think European Union is the best thing what happened in Europe. No more wars. You see Germany and France, they are very good friends. Of course, you know, the UK, they were a bit, I think, over nationalistic, and anyway. So the best thing what we can hope is the gradual reopening of the economy, and believing that the solidarity in the European country, it might work.
I think you are correct. I think only not the solidarity. I don't believe in solidarity by the countries, but I hope for that. But I believe in the only way out is solidarity and cooperation between people, between human beings. And if the countries they do that, that's a hope I have. So one side I have a lot of hope on people, at least on the minority, as always, you know. And I don't have hope in many other things. But that's the world, since the world is world. So as long as we are here, we keep fighting, we keep doing the best of ourselves, you know, to create a better world. Yes.
Yes. Yes, it's a very important thing. There was an important research done in Hungary that because of the confinement measures, because of the COVID-19 virus, the lockdown makes people more receptive to political extremism. And, these paranoid theories. And this tendency of political extremism could encourage politicians, as our Orban, to pursue even more authoritarian policies. I think it's a very important finding that confinement makes people more prone to accept theories of conspiracy.
Yeah.
I think, and it's kind of dangerous thing, because Orban can use this.
Yes.
You want to say something? Because
No,
I have.
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm fine.
I read also some research made in United States, and they found that the hitting by the pandemic for people who have lower socio-economic status, people of color, not only black people, Asian people, and Latino people also, they are more prone to receive the illness. So I guess this data can be repeated in Hungary as well. The Roma people, they are very poor. They don't have enough money to buy vitamin D, vitamin C, minerals, stuff which make your immune system more strong. So yes, and poor people, they are more prone to depression, and depression affects the immune system. And please just remember what was in the cholera of London. The poor were disproportionately affected because of their living conditions. I think there is a kind of special reaction based on social classes. I guess poor people, they are more prone to be ill or get this sickness.
Yes. So we have in Brazil and Hungary, by chance, we have some similarities and some differences. But the similarities in the human anguish, they are very, very much similar, very much the same. And it's nice to know. It was nice to hear you uh, about all that, and to hear how is your life in Hungary, in Budapest at this moment. And I really hope that things get better, even if I'm not sure that they will get better. But for some people, it will get better, and this always but the minority will push the world to to be better and better. And thank you for your solidarity and cooperation, and the nice exchange we just had. And
Thank you.
yes, thank you very much, Kristian.
We would like to have you soon over here in Hungary.
Thank you.
And I think Hungary is not so important in the world economy as Brazil. These BRIC countries, Brazil, Russia, India, and China, these are the new economic power, which has a really great impact on the economy. So I was also glad to get an insight from you, Rubens, what's going on in Brazil. It's a wonderful country, wonderful people, wonderful culture.
Also, the Hungarian, they are fantastic people. I really love you. Send my love to everybody there in Hungary. And Hungary has one of the most beautiful cultures in the world, in the sense of science, literature, theater, arts. And Hungary is really powerful, even in music, and classical music is so beautiful. Everything you have in Hungary, and I think that is most beautiful economy that Hungary can offer to the world. You know, the quality of the people, the quality of the culture in Hungary. I really love that. And of course, people know how important is Hungary for the world, you know.
And we don't need to forget that Hungary is not a homogenic country. Here lives Roma people,
Yeah.
Jewish people, and a lot of minorities. So, yes, we all are Hungarian citizens, but our national identity might differ. So, yes. Thank you so much, Rubens.
Kristian.
Hope to see you
Bye-bye.
in Budapest. Ciao.
Ciao, ciao. Bye-bye.
Ciao. Bye.